Okay, have you ever really thought about the ground beneath our feet? I'm not talking about the dirt, but the miles and miles and miles of blacktop that connect, well, pretty much everything. It's asphalt, and it's so common we barely even notice it anymore. But, as we're about to find out, this silent, sprawling network of roads might actually be hiding a pretty serious danger.
So let's just start with the sheer scale of this stuff. I mean, in any modern city, pavement isn't just a feature. It's practically the main feature of the landscape. Just take a city like Phoenix, Arizona, for example. It's a city that's really defined by its roads.
And get this for statistic. If you took all the pavement in Phoenix and just piled it up, it would be enough to cover the entire city of San Francisco 4 times over. That's not just a surface, right? That's an entire environment. We're talking something like 40% of Arizona's capital city is just covered in this stuff.
And that brings us to the big question. We talk a lot about how asphalt traps heat, that urban heat island effect. But what about its effect on us, on our actual bodies? That's the question that's driving all the research we're going to dive into today.
This is where a researcher named Ellen Finney comes in. Now, she originally started her work just trying to figure out why asphalt breaks down so fast, but what she ended up uncovering was something way more concerning: what this stuff is constantly, invisibly releasing into the air we all breathe.
You know that smell, right? On a really hot day or when you're driving past a road construction site? Well, that smell is from something called volatile organic compounds, or VOCs for short. They're basically these carbon-based vapors that are just escaping from the bitumen. That's the sticky, black petroleum gunk that holds the whole asphalt mixed together.
And listen, this isn't just about a weird smell. These VOCs have very real health risks. Short-term, they can cause things like dizziness or make it hard to breathe. But for people who are around it all the time, like road workers, the long-term risk is way more severe: a seriously elevated chance of getting lung cancer.
Now you might think, okay, kind of like a new car smell, it probably just fades over time, right? But with asphalt, it's actually the exact opposite. The problem gets worse and a lot more dangerous as our roads get older.
So here's the hidden threat. Brand new asphalt? Yeah, it releases those familiar, smelly VOCs. But as the sun and the heat bake that pavement day after day, year after year, that bitumen starts to break down and release totally different compounds. And these new ones, they're way more toxic. And here's the kicker: they often have no smell at all.
The really crucial point here is that these new age particles are smaller, they're stealthier, and they're much more dangerous. They're so tiny that they can get past our body's natural defenses, working their way right into our arteries and even our organs. Some research even suggests they could cause significant neurological damage.
It's a pretty sobering picture when you think about it. Millions of miles of roads just sitting there, potentially getting more toxic over time, especially in hot, sunny places. So what on earth can we do about it? I mean, how do you fix something that's so fundamental to the way we live? Well, it turns out that researchers at Arizona State University have found a potential answer, and it comes from one of the most unexpected places you could imagine. It's a solution that's not just effective, it's also just brilliantly sustainable. The answer is algae. Simple, green algae. Believe it or not, the kind of tiny organism you might find floating in a pond could actually hold the key to making all our roads safer.
Okay, so here's how it works, and it's really pretty ingenious. First, they grow a special type of algae, and they feed it with nutrient-rich wastewater from a treatment plant. So they're literally cleaning water to create their raw material. Then they harvest the algae and bake it, which turns it into this amazing biobinder that you can mix right into the asphalt.
So what are the results? Well, get ready for this number. The algae-infused asphalt doesn't just slightly cut down on emissions. It reduces the toxicity of those emissions by a factor of 100. A 100-fold decrease. That is an absolutely massive breakthrough.
And the benefits just keep piling up. It's not just about toxicity. This algae binder also makes the pavement more durable, which slows down that whole breakdown process we were just talking about. That, in turn, lowers long-term repair costs. And remember, the whole thing is done using wastewater. So it's safer, it's stronger, it's cheaper in the long run, and it's greener. It's a win-win-win-win.
This really takes us to the bigger picture. This research isn't just about fixing a single problem. It's about fundamentally rethinking what our roads can even be.
And this is not just a cool theory in a lab. The very next step is a real-world test. Thanks to a partnership with the city of Phoenix, this algae-infused asphalt is about to be used on a public road for the very first time.
This is where we get to see if those amazing lab results can hold up out there in the real world.
I want to leave you with this quote from Elham Famini, the lead researcher, because I think it just perfectly captures the ambition here. She said, "We have 4 million miles of roads in America. We should make those 4 million miles do more for us than just get from A to B." Just think about that. What if that massive footprint could be turned into something that actually helps create a healthier environment instead of taking away from it?
It's a really powerful idea, and it leaves us with one final thought. If we can transform something as mundane and overlooked as asphalt, using something as simple as algae, what other parts of our everyday world are just sitting there, waiting to be completely reinvented for a smarter and safer future?